All right, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakagutas. I want to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and the sincere Shalom to the Akim out here that's doing again, pushing this work in truth and in sincerity. Want to go on in this video that America's geographical advantage is why the nuclear missiles are important. Okay. Now, when going into Chat GPT, right? And I was asking the question, about the geographical advantage that America has compared to the other countries in the world. Okay. And I asked, which I tried the best I could with it, but it says if America was on the same continent as the other countries for them to send in ground troops, they would have been took advantage of it. Okay, and it says geography is America's biggest natural defense. Okay, when you look at the pictures, okay, um, America, USA, right? We understand that it's on the other parts of the world compared to over there where Europe, Asia, Africa, okay. Um, America has this part of the world and even the other part of the world on lock, okay. Um, and that's one of the reasons why this country is able to bully, okay, and be in a tyrannical state, okay. Now it says the United States is protected by two massive barriers: the Atlantic Ocean on the east and Pacific Ocean on the west. That distance makes large-scale ground invasions extremely difficult. Moving an army across oceans requires huge naval fleets, air superiority, long vulnerable supply lines. Historically, that's why conflicts involving the U.S. tend to happen overseas, not on its own soil. And it says, compared to other countries on same continents, okay, look at places like Europe, the Middle East, parts of Asia, countries that share direct land borders, which is why armies can move quickly, invasions happen more often, wars escalate faster. Okay, for example, the World War II saw constant land invasions across Europe because everything was connected. But geography isn't the only reason. Even if the US was on the same landmass, it wouldn't automatically mean it gets invaded easily, right? It says other factors matter. Military power. The US has one of the strongest militaries in the world, massive air, naval, and technological advantage, nuclear deterrence. Any large invasion risk nuclear retaliation. That alone discourages direct attacks. Alliances, NATO, and global partnerships make attacking the U.S. risky for multiple nations. Logistics reality. Invading a country as large as the U.S. is a nightmare even by land. Supply lines, terrain, and resistance would be overwhelming. The real takeaway: if America didn't have oceans protecting it, it would face more direct threats. Okay, it says, but not necessarily that it would already been taken advantage of, because power plus deterrence plus scale still make it one of the hardest countries in the world to invade. Okay, and I said, America wouldn't have grown to be a world power if it was on the same landmass. The location is one of the greatest advantages, but that's also why countries will shoot missiles to this place according to the Bible. Okay. And it says geography absolutely helped America's rise, right? And it showed, a little picture of, what if America was over there, you know, um, well, that's not a picture. That is the United States. That's Alaska. Okay. Um, but yeah, it's talking about, the geography compared to, the other countries. Okay. And it says if the US were on a crowded landmass like Europe or Asia, its rise would have looked very different. Why geography mattered, security buffer, the oceans kept large invading armies away, time to grow, no constant land wars like Europe had, economic focus, could build industry instead of rebuilding from invasions. Expansion space, huge internal land to develop without foreign interference. That isolation gave the U.S. something most powers never had: centuries to grow uninterrupted. Okay? Location wasn't just an advantage, it was a foundation. Okay? But power wasn't only geography. Even on another landmass, some factors still matter: resources, land, oil, agriculture, industrialization, political structure, military strategy. Geography gave America a head start, but it still had to build a system that turned it into a superpower. Okay. Um, it says the Bible doesn't mention missiles directly, but some people connect modern weapons to symbolic language and prophecy, especially in books like Revelation, Jeremiah, Isaiah. Okay. The destruction of Babylon, Revelation chapter 18. Okay. You see the mushroom cloud. Okay. Um, some believe fire from heaven equals modern weapons, missiles, nuclear strikes. Babylon the Great and Revelation, a powerful end times nation, which is America. Okay. Um, sudden destruction, advanced warfare. It says a lot of modern readers connect that Babylon to symbol to the United States because of global influence, wealth and trade dominance, cultural impact. Okay. And I don't care about that part, because it just says Babylon often symbolized ancient empires like Babylon or Rome, which America is like both of those. Okay. Um, it's a system of power and corruption. Okay. Um, so it says, I said, how fast would it take for nuclear missiles to get to America from the other part of the world? Roughly 20 to 35 minutes for a long range intercontinental ballistic missile, right, which is ICBM, okay, launched from the other side of the world. Depending on where it launches from and what parts of the US it targets, a commonly cited estimate is under 30 minutes from Russia to the US East Coast, while a North Korea to US flight has been cited at about 33 minutes. If the missiles were launched from a submarine much closer to US source, the warning time could be much shorter. US government historical material cites 3 to 15 minutes for submarine launched ballistic missiles. And treaty era State Department material defines short time of flight as 15 minutes or less. Okay, so those missiles ain't gonna take no time from the submarines to get here. Okay, 3 minutes, like how 3 minutes goes by fast. This video has been done. What, we going on 10 minutes right now? Okay, that's 3 waves of nuclear missiles that could have happened. Okay, it says a big reason is how ballistic missiles fly After launch, they spend only a few minutes boosting. That the much of the trip is an unpowered mid-course arc through space. One missile fact sheet notes the mid-course phase alone can last around 20 minutes for an ICBM. So the simple answer is across the world by ICBM about 25 to 35 minutes, right? Which, these other countries have said that, you know, those missiles are faster that they have, okay? And then you can't detect them, okay? It says from a nearby sub, potentially as little as a few minutes to around 15 minutes, okay? So we'll start off with the book of Jeremiah 51 and 7. It says, behold, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Okay, and when you look at, like I said, that geographical advantage that America has compared to these other countries, they're able to go into these other countries, set up puppet leaders and everything like that. Whereas though if they was on those other that landmass, America would have been puppetized a long time ago. Which America is still puppetized, because of the top wicked elite. Okay, but the fact that this country, has this um, geographical advantage over, the world. Um, the other nations, and they just get bullied. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why these other countries are mad because America can't be touched. Okay, uh, it, a lot of these people who live here on the soils, they don't think that this place can get touched. Okay, because when has it ever been touched? Okay, a lot of people here think that it's just going to keep on going and on, you know. But these, what America is going through and doing right now, okay, over there in the other parts of the world, makes a major difference, and that's one of the reasons why these countries are making it. They're building up their arsenal, okay, to be able to shoot those missiles at this place, okay. And there's this thing called MAD, mutually assured destruction, okay, which America, has this um they have a defense, okay, to where if somebody shoots the missiles, they're able to shoot them down, okay. They're able to, destroy them, okay. Um, but somehow, some way, the Lord is going to make it to where, those missiles when they get shot over here, that they're gonna fulfill what He wants them to do, okay. Um, so I'm gonna go from there to Second Ezra 16 and 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bends the bow; his arrows that he shoots are sharp, and shall not miss. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." Okay, and America is the ends of the world. Okay, it says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth." Okay? Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returns not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Okay? So that's, America, in a nutshell being, destroyed. Okay? Which is Babylon the Great. Okay? Um, Isaiah 47:1, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." Right? When America, is considered the virgin daughter of Babylon because it hasn't been touched. Okay, Babylon, you go into the word, it means confusion, and it's this place that has caused a lot of confusion in the world. Okay, and then also, the glory of the Chaldees, excellency, because when the Chaldees were one of the first nations to invade another country, okay, and take their land, okay. America invaded, they invaded the so-called Native Americans, the Northern tribe, okay. They invaded, the Northern Kingdom, okay, and took over their land, okay, and they set up shop, okay. And now to the people here, in the world, this place looks like it's indestructible, right? And that's why it's saying, "Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans," right? Because, like I said, the Chaldeans were the very first one to invade another country successfully and take their land. Okay, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Okay, that this place doesn't seem destructible. Okay, and when the Lord returns, right, as the Bible says, the third verse, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man." So when the Lord returns, um, this place is the Lord ain't going to visit this place as a man having negotiations with them. Okay, the Lord, in fact, is going to invade this country. He's going to be the one who takes this place down. Okay, the one who the world inwardly calls Jesus, which his real name is Yahweh Shah. Okay, this place is a very strong country, and none of these other countries have the opportunity to be able to take this place down. Okay, that's why the Most High Yahweh and Yahweh Shah is going. He's building up this place. Okay, to the point where they think that they cannot be touched, and they can just do whatever they want to throughout the whole world. Okay, and then boom, here you got the Most High, who's going, make this place as an example. Okay, by destroying it off the face of the earth. Okay, thus saith the Lord. Okay, so with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to say shalom till next time.